My name is Pastor Pearse Frazier, and this is Today we're beginning a series on Divine Providence. That means the Lord's governing of creation. It's Him beginning it and guiding it. The Lord, while He loves all of us, He does not manipulate creation arbitrarily, picking winners and losers, but that He actually works according to order. The universe, if you will, is a lawful universe. This is a phrase I heard a physicist use, actually. What we know about the universe is that it is lawful. And that because it is lawful, the physicist was explaining, that is, in a sense, deterministic. Now that word, deterministic, implies that everything that has happened was predetermined. Now this is not true, but I want to invite you into a sense of wonderment at creation. Now, deterministic creation suggests that after the Big Bang, there was an explosion of material, hydrogen and helium gathered together, and more stars exploded and the dust gathered, but that all of it, after that initial explosion, was pretty much determined. While there is wiggle room at the subatomic level, that it all averages out. And then on the macro level, at the atomic and greater on the molecular level, things happen the way they happen. Now this matters because our brains are made up of molecules, and they might be deterministic too. Is that how God created the universe? By setting something in motion, being a being outside of time and space, and pushing it forward, and then hands off. Now that is what I like to consider a cold idea of God. Now there are two reasons why I like to think of it as cold. The first is that it seems kind of cold. I like to believe in a divine being who loves me, and love is warm. If instead it's merely a clockmaker who sets a machine in motion and then is hands off, there's no love in that. That seems cold. The other one is because it leads to a cold end. What we know, again from physics, is that energy dissipates, that the universe grows cold, and that in theory it ends. It is a principle of the natural world that everything ends. Objects in motion do not continue. That's what entropy is describing. Another way of thinking of entropy is that things become more and more chaotic, fall apart. You can actually see this in the world around you. If a building isn't in use, in a few years, plants will begin to take over. Rats will move in. Nature will tear that constructed thing apart. Order crumbles. And yet, look around you. Life, us. We are an amazing amalgamation of ordered parts. That all of this works is just a wonderment. We're not falling apart. Now, in some sense, we're falling apart. Being older, I definitely feel older. I feel like I'm falling apart. And yet, I am more me than I have ever been. I grow. I change. I thrive. Now, in regular science, there's not a lot of discussion about the purpose of something. Sometimes they speak as if things have a purpose. They might say in biology that an organism is created in order to do certain things. But strictly speaking, in scientific terms, nothing was created in order to do another thing. It just happened to be that way. That's that random, will-less, cold determinism. And yet, we humans cannot but add into the way we talk about things a desire, a want, a conatus, a willing on the part of things. We speak about it when we speak about evolution, when we speak about even physics. But it's not because we're being foolish, but because we have in us an innate sense that things do have a use. The universe is not created randomly. It's created with a purpose. And that purpose is to reconnect with the God, to reconnect with the Lord. Imagine for your moment a being. This being is infinitely loving. And that quality is the most central, essential thing about that being. More important than any other detail. Love, real love, follows certain rules. Love wills to love something outside of itself. Otherwise, it is not love, but selfishness. Love wills to join with that thing outside of itself and to make that thing blessed or happy. Real love is seeing another person, wanting to be one with them, shake their hands, give them a hug, be in community with them in a congregation, in a family, in a marriage, in a friendship, and to bring joy and blessings on that other person. Well, that's our finite, limited love. God has infinite love. He is all-loving, which means the number of people he could love is indefinite, unending. So this being creates the universe so that he may love us. And he needs an indefinite number of us, a number that continually expands. And so the universe is massive, with an unending potential for life, for beings who can return God's love. That's the purpose of creation. And from that, that's the meaning of life. I said at the beginning how I don't want to believe in a cold God. That want to believe is central. Who we are, who I am, who anyone is, at the essential, most important part is what they want, what they love. And I love the idea of a warm God. It's why I believe in God. It's why I believe that God is human, that he loves us. As I look around at creation, I am amazed. I am humbled that there is order in it, and that in that order I see a continual guidance of the Lord in his love. I do not feel cold. When I see scientific principles working according to the way they should, when things work because I expect them to, I feel the Lord's love when I remember to. So I invite you to try and remember the Lord. When you look out at the world, invite that wonderment. And that in every detail, his love may be seen. Let us know what you think. What wonder do you see in creation? How have you seen the Lord's love in your life? And how have you been able to share it with others? Thank you for joining us.